All right, Andy and Nick, huge game. Always is in the Premier League season. Liverpool against Man City, but particularly this one, right? At Anfield this weekend. This is huge in the context of the season. And right now, where both teams are at, Liverpool are absolutely flying. They're 8 points clear of second place City heading into this weekend. Nick, I'm going to come to you right away. Your thoughts on this game, because City are a mess. Liverpool just getting it done. This is huge. This is absolutely massive in determining the storyline of the season for both these teams, right?
It is. And it's why, foolishly perhaps, I don't have money, so let's not say that. But if we were betting cookies, I would bet an awful lot of cookies or Thanksgiving pies, whatever you want to say, on Man City finding a way to win this game.
Oh,
I don't see it falling apart that badly. It's pretty clear. Kevin De Bruyne is ready to play. I think he was saved for this purpose. We'll see how things go at midweek, but I imagine that's going to be prioritized. I still don't know what they're going to do in the center of the park, but I'm trusting Pep a little bit. Yeah. I really feel like this is the moment that even if Liverpool go on to win the league by 8 points, it won't be with taking that sort of lead this week. It would feel foolish to bet on them to lose more games. I know how they look. But
it goes against every fiber of logic in your body. I understand.
Yeah,
it really does. But Liverpool looking great, Andy, right? I was at St. Mary's last Sunday. I mean, they looked a bit dodgy defensively on the counter-attack, but they just found a way to get the win like all great teams do, right? And we always talk about that winning mentality, grinded it out. Spoke to Van Dijk and Salah about that afterwards, and they're like, yep, sets up perfectly for this big week in Europe and against Man City. But he's been handed a great opportunity, and it seems like the vibe around Liverpool is like, we just cannot let this slip, because if they beat City this weekend, they go 11 points clear of Man City after 13 games played in the Premier League season. And they basically knock City out of the title race, which to me is just not something I thought I'd be uttering before December even hit us. But here we are. I mean, is there a weakness right now for Liverpool? Because Salah's flying, looks solid in midfield with Gravenberch and gives them more control. But maybe just that lack of dealing with counters well enough is probably the only thing that you would say would kind of get in their way between their destiny, it seems, at the moment, of them winning the Premier League this season.
Yeah, and I don't feel there's a ton of depth in the midfield either, and not different depth. At least it's a lot of guys who are great on the ball. They're all really good on the ball. Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai, McAllister, all of them really, really accomplished on the ball. I think that helps them against City because of the way that City are playing at the moment. It's just there's no identity to City, all the injuries that they're dealing with, and they're struggling to put a team out there every single week. And the way that I don't say they quit, they accepted what happened to them against Tottenham after the second goal. They just, okay, here we go again. And you could see the heads drop. And so I look at Liverpool and the positivity that they have at the moment and the momentum that they could generate from this week. All due respect to Southampton, I think if you've got Man City and Real Madrid coming up in the week following playing them, you're probably maybe going to look ahead just a little bit, and you might not be fully focused on that first game coming back from an international break. And so maybe that explains a little bit of what happened in that game. I do worry about the counter, but it's also not the thing that City do best. And so, it's a better matchup, I think, for Liverpool than the Madrid matchup in the Champions League.
And Nick, we talked about it in the show this week as well. The Salah situation swirling around Liverpool. Sure, Arne Slot just wants to calm all that kind of contract talk down and just to get everyone focused. But do you think that's going to be any kind of distraction for Liverpool heading into this huge game? Or do you think, Salah was within his rights to bring this up now and try and get his contract situation sorted? It's kind of flip of a coin stuff, right, on where you are with his situation.
Yeah, I don't think it matters that much. It's a great story and a good story, but I don't think it changes performances. I think the number one people who love the fact that story came out is because it's the same week that the story comes out that Kevin De Bruyne isn't sure he's going to be able to stay, with his contract because of this, similar situation. And I don't think it'll be a distraction because Salah's done this before. And his performances didn't drop. It's Jay-Z, right? He's not a businessman. He's a businessman. Like that, he just goes about his thing. And I have no worry about him. Football has clearly been his life. I mean, look at him when his shirt came off the other day. He's following the crazy training regimen and diet. He is here to be the best he can be for the longest he can be. And so I don't really fear that, a lack of performance. The midfield is an interesting question. I just think the intensity is set to be through the roof for this game.
It always is, right? And Man City always struggle at Liverpool. That is historically, even when they weren't the City of today, before that, they've struggled before, during the takeover, after it, and just it's been a horrendous hunting ground for them, Andy. And I think Man City defensively, like you referenced there, they gave up against Tottenham. They kept creating chances. They really did going forward. But every time Tottenham came forward, they just tore them open. And I guess the issue is midfield, the Rodri size gap. We knew that was going to be the case since he was injured against Arsenal. But how do they plug that this weekend? Is it a case of Akanji maybe starting in that holding role? He's done that before, or a John Stones going back in there. Something like that seems to be more pragmatic because Kovacic has obviously been missing. That's huge. But even he isn't the same kind of defensive force as a Rodri. So it's almost like Pep, against probably all his instincts in his body, he's going to have to be more defensive here and just kind of accept that they are going to be a slightly different Man City. And he has done that at the past in key stages when they needed to dig out results. So there's some kind of history with this situation they're in right now.
Am I the only one that's a little surprised or disappointed he's not done that so far this year in this run, especially?
He should have.
Yeah. Stop the bleeding if you can when you've got the injuries that you do. And maybe you can't win every game 4-0 all season and win a 5th straight title. Maybe you have to grind some of them out. And I know he knows that because he has done it in the past, to your point, Joe. But I look at this situation and the season's slipping away incredibly quickly. And if they don't beat Liverpool this weekend, they're out of the title. With 4 or 5 months to go in the season, it's absolutely unthinkable. So I do think he has to probably throw a bit of I don't know if it's a curveball, because we have seen John Stones in the defensive midfield role in the past, but that's the one to me that I think makes the most sense. Without Rodri, the thing they miss, I mean, he's brilliant, obviously won the Ballon d'Or, but his physical presence in that team, and a team that's not exactly known for their physicality outside of Haaland up top, I think they're really missing that. And as good as Kovacic can be on the ball, and he can progress it, and he can move it around, and he can be the metronome in there, he doesn't have that. And they've really struggled right through the center of the field, and the way that they were cut open on the counter against Spurs, again, it didn't look like Manchester City. So I think it'll be slightly less of a wide open, frantic game, because I think City are going to have to be a little bit more pragmatic in this one if they're going to get something out of it. And I do think Liverpool will have to grind it out at that point.
Yeah, 2 words: tactical fouls. They have been missing for Man City without Rodri, and just breaking up the rhythm of opponents like they do so masterfully when he's in the team. And there's just a clear path to goal right now, and they cannot stop giving up big chances. All the stats point to that. Nick, what do you go with prediction-wise, mate? Because, again, most people leaning for Liverpool, the form they're in, the form City are in, but there have been some epic battles between these two teams, and Guardiola against Slot for the first time. I'm really excited to see how this plays out, because this is a different Liverpool to the team that Guardiola's been coming up against ever since he's been in England, pretty much.
Yeah, the one way I would lean towards Liverpool is there was a quote from Pep, and I pulled it up this week, came earlier this week. It's difficult when you have to play without 4 central defenders, 2 holding mids, the best player in the world, Rodri out, 3 wingers out. Just give me my players back. You'll see Man City. That gives me pause, because Pep doesn't normally talk like that. That said, that may not bode well for the next few months. I think what you'll see this weekend, whatever center back they put at holding mid, Gundogan and De Bruyne together is something we're all forgetting about. Gundogan's a better defensive midfielder than we remember, because he hasn't had to play that way as Man City as well. I think this is ripe for a talking point rich next week after City pull out a 2-1 win at Anfield.
Whoa, Andy, that would be a big shock, right? But what are you going with, mate?
Not a shock to me. I've got the exact same thing. They need it more. They have to have it because – and I don't want to project too far into the future, but if they lose the title this season, they don't win the title, how many of those players want to be back next season? Because it is, as the project and where it's going, the uncertainty over Pep longer term, we know medium term, he's going to be there for a couple more years. But how many players then look and say, all right, I've done incredible things at Manchester City. what else is out there? And so this could be somewhat, and we won't know until much later, and looking back on it, somewhat of a sliding doors moment, a bit of a crossroads for not just the club, but a lot of individuals there.
I'm going to go for 2-2, guys. I think this is one of those games where Liverpool giving up some decent chances, City are giving up a lot. I think it's going to be ferocious, and Liverpool will try and control it. But Man City, like you guys have said, have to go for it. But I think they're just going to come up short with that win that they need. Liverpool going to stay 8 points clear and have the upper hand in the title race. But really looking forward to this one at Anfield. It's always a huge game. But given all the things we've talked about, this is going to just be sensational in terms of the narrative, the storyline for where the rest of the season is going for these two teams. So thanks so much, Nick and Andy, for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Make sure you head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the how to watch information, analysis, and reaction from this massive game, Liverpool against Man City. The two title favourites collide. Can Liverpool go 11 points clear of City? Can City claw it back to 5 points and give themselves some hope? Let's wait and see. Thanks, guys.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.